Welcome to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. I'm your host, Luke Darnell. We took last week off to celebrate the little general's birthday, but this week on Pitmaster we have Justin McGlaun with Lucky's Q. Winner of Sam's Club, King of the Smokers, and countless other awards, Lucky's one of the best guys you'll meet in barbecue. A great podcast here with a great purchase for under $100 that will save you tons. Fantastic interview coming up. Please join me in welcoming Justin McGlaun. All right, so we're here with Justin McGlaun, otherwise known as Lucky from Lucky's Q. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. How you doing, Luke?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Cooked the contest this weekend, played a little golf. What'd you do?
Froze. It's cold up here.
Yes, it was in the minus numbers in Iowa this weekend, so it was kind of fun texting you pictures of the golf course. That was kind of neat.
Yeah, other people in Florida didn't help either.
No, those people are really mean. It was still cold where I played golf, but it's funny when I think about how you and I met. We didn't really meet until we were next to each other, or until we played golf at King of the Smokers. That was pretty fun, and I believe we won that day against Blaine and Eric.
Yeah, there's no, it wasn't even close.
I'd love to have that rematch someday. As I just think that was a lot of fun. When I think about you, two things come to mind. One is that you were a co-conspirator in the Darren Worth bourbon switch with the Black Velvet. So much fun.
That was hilarious.
And number two, you've provided one of the good luck trinkets in the OVS trailer. One of the old school calendars that they stick on truck dashboards that have naked women on it. You gave me one of those, and it's been in our trailer ever since. And I'll share with the listeners that today I get this envelope in the mail from Iowa, and I got an updated calendar. It was one of the best mornings I've had in a long time getting the mail. I was like, this is fantastic. So I just wanted to publicly thank you for that.
It's good you enjoy it so much. It's hard to get those, by the way,
Oh, yeah. And, we were texting around with other people, and they were like, I can't believe they still make those. And I was like, yeah, I can't either, but I know exactly where this is going. And it's never out. Nobody ever sees it. I'm the only one that knows where it is. So that maybe was too weird, but let's get into some barbecue stuff, man. You've been cooking a long time. You've won a lot of cool stuff. What's the biggest turning point in your life as a pitmaster?
I think the biggest turning point for us was, it wasn't the Sam's Club win. I mean, that was in 2012. We had a good year that year, but I think before that was we went out to Vegas. I met some guy on a Stump Smokers forum, and we went out to Vegas and the ACM Throwdown. I was like, let's go cook it. We had about 42 people along with us. I don't remember, one of those things, big party town, everyone having fun. And we cooked this contest. We came in reserve to slap your daddy by 4/10,000ths of a point. and it was funny because it was in the spring, so then we came back home, and Big T's and Tippy Canoe were doing the cornbread class. And I remember to this day Ryan going, I was just pretty good friends with him, just getting to know him pretty well, and he said, I don't think you need to be taking this class. And from then on it was kind of one, we did well, we never won a lot right in the beginning. It was kind of, you're finding your consistency. And that was the hardest thing. A lot of the young cooks, always struggle through that. I still struggle this day is consistency, but we had fun. I think that was a turning point. We really thought, hey, we could beat anybody, we could be good at this. So. Yeah,
I think there's always seminal moments like that, where you can trace back to be like, okay, this could be something, which I think is really cool. You guys have gone on to win a lot of different things throughout barbecue, but I think with the name Lucky's Q, we have to assume that there's some habits and rituals and routines and stuff that you guys have during competitions. Is that true?
There's a few, and actually, it's funny because I used to work construction, kind of like I worked it full time. Then I worked it as a sideline gig at nights and weekends and stuff. And we were on a barn one day, and a guy said to me, he said something about, "You're the biggest damn leprechaun I ever seen," because he asked what my last name meant or what nationality. I said, "Oh, it's got some Irish in it." So then from then on, it kind of stuck as Lucky. And all the guys I worked with all the time. And it's funny because we always say in barbecue, we're the unluckiest team because we always end up, if there's a tiebreaker to lose, we'll lose it. We've done it numerous times, and it's kind of a joke,
Yeah. See, but you can't take that from Old Virginia Smoke. So this weekend there was a 3-way tie for 9th, 10th, and 11th. Pork was the wild child.
Uh-oh.
So whoever finished ninth. We finished 10th. And then the team that lost the tiebreaker to us finished 11th. They didn't enter the wild child. So the 12th place team, a really good friend of mine, Brian Walrath, ended up winning the money. And I was like, wow. Like, I mean, I'll take the 10th place, but damn. It was pretty funny. Kim was like, yeah, that's exactly how this goes.
Yep. I feel your pain.
Yeah. So give us some of these rituals and habits. What do you got? What are some of the superstitions?
It goes back to even like during prep week, if it's stupid little things like I have to do certain things on certain days. I always mix my injections on Sundays, get them ready on Sundays, and get the brisket out on Sunday. Tuesday brisket injection gets mixed. I don't care if I fly in somewhere, I'm mixing it Tuesday night at the condo or the hotel or whatever I'm staying at.
Yeah.
It's little intricacies that, a lot of people do, but it's not, nothing out of the norm. We tried it for a couple of years. We really got a little worried about the small things. And then, then your cooking goes downhill, in my opinion. So we just we've eased up quite a bit over the years.
Yeah. We try and make it as simple as possible. That's kind of been the way we're going. We eliminate way more stuff before we add.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Simplify things is so much better.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers their first contest where they show up everything, but including a kitchen sink or back of a pickup completely loaded. It takes you 2.5 hours to load up. All this stuff, and 90% of the stuff you never used. We've came a long way from then.
So are you a music guy while you're cooking?
Well, you know that.
Of course.
What was the one song we finally agreed on? I think Sublime or
Sublime. We're both
Sublime
fans.
I like actually Kate set up a playlist. So if we start at a certain time in the morning, we have certain songs that come on during turn-in. So, we always listen to what is Pork Turnin' is Biggie Smalls. What's that?
That's amazing.
Billie Jean from Los Pocadillas or whatever that is, that comes on one of them. And, it always is certain songs, it kind of, it's gets you used to back in the feng shui, whenever you're kind of doing turns.
I'm not allowed to play that version of Billie Jean in the trailer anymore. It drives Kim crazy. She can't stand it.
It's so bad Gavin walks around singing it sometimes.
It's just a brilliant song. Yeah. But you're also a noted Prince hater.
Yes.
That's nobody's perfect, Luck. So you talked a lot about, you already spoke some about your competition week, and it's the same thing every day. That's something that I think is so important to make sure that, you don't have to think about stuff whenever you're there on site and then it's done. One of the coolest things, though, that I think you guys do are the messages that Kate leaves for you on the sauce containers. Those are great.
Yeah, I don't even know how that started. It was just we were goofing around. It was probably somewhere where she been out with too many girls drinking a few too many shots or something. And, you know, she always warms those up. And it's just, now I'm doing it and I'm sending pictures to her of the pictures I take or the sayings I put on them.
This weekend, Kim just read brisket on top of the one. And I was like, come on, little effort. that didn't go over well.
No, I bet not.
One of the things we like to talk about a lot in barbecue is our successes and how we've won stuff. I like to talk a lot about failures and something that happens or something you did at a contest that was a massive failure that you learned from. Do you have any of those big type of things?
I got two of them that stick in my mind. One, the most recent one was the Smithfield Championship down in New Orleans in 2019. And if you're familiar with that, it was a meat provided contest. And I think they gave you whole chickens or something like that. And, you know, we drove all the way down there and you got to cook or you got to win certain top 12 or whatever to go on the next day. And, well, chicken turned in. Our chicken was really good. We had the thighs, but we decided to put pulled chicken in the bottom of the box. And when pulled chicken's warm, it's really, really good. But when it 40, 50 degrees out and windy, that eliminated us. I still think about that to this day. You know, we've done it a few other times at the King of the Smoker. It always makes you wonder if that's what hurt you that year. You know, that's one of them that always sticks in mind. And the second one is we'll never, ever forget. We were down in at the Royal. First year we went, I think it was 2011 or 2010. First year we GC'd. Anyways, I was dumb. I had all my meats besides chicken. I figured, how hard is it to find chicken in Kansas City? We were staying at Harrah's in North Kansas City there, and we went up the road, Googled a grocery store, went up there and bought, they got this nice Amish chicken. Okay. Bought it, trimmed it up. You know, they were pretty good sized thighs. You know, skin was, you know, I wasn't scraping skins at this time. That was really not even talked about a whole lot, you know. And it was some thick skins. Well, needless to say, I got done cooking those things. It looked like little postage stamps on top of the chicken thighs and just rubber. I mean, it was really, really bad. We ended up getting 2 or 3 calls that day in the invite. And we finished third or fourth overall. And chicken was like almost bottom. To this day, it still haunts me that, you know, we could have been a royal champion, you know, because chicken was normally our better category than brisket. So,
did you rip those little skins off and go skinless?
No, and you know, looking back on it, that's what I'd do now. I turned them in. They were all shriveled up right on top, little postage stamps. It was horrible. I can still see them in my mind when I think about it.
Yeah, especially in a contest of that magnitude, you know, and to think that mistake might have cost you that crown. Which coincidentally, your family is not without a crown, though. Little G-Man's got one. That was one of my favorite awards ceremonies ever.
I got to rely on him to get it for me.
He's a man of many talents, Gavin. He's a fantastic little kid. It's just great watching the kids queue and how much you guys are involved with that, as well as some of the other pitmasters around the country, and giving, you know, kids those opportunities. Because, you know, you look at the competition barbecue world, we've both been around now for 8, 9, 10 years, and we're still the young guys. You know, there's not a lot of young people getting into the sport, which, you know, I think has the potential to be a problem down the road.
Yeah, you see a lot of these people are starting to realize, hey, this is a lot easier to go camping or, you know, relax on the weekends. And, you know, it's a lot of work at a contest. And people just think we go in the parking lot and drink beer. And it's I'm whooped after the end of the weekend.
Yeah, me too. And then driving 10, 12 hours to go do it. That's always fun.
Oh, it's horrible. Stupidest hobby ever sometimes.
Yep. Have you ever had a breaking point moment that you almost just threw in the towel on competition barbecue?
I've had twice in my career that I've been like that. We took last in pork. And I can't remember if it was last overall or we were really close at the Sam's Club in Madison, Wisconsin. And I think that was like 16 or 14. I don't even remember. I'm terrible with the years. It kind of blurs together. But after, driving home from that, it was one of those, you got 5.5 hours to think about it. And I don't think Kate and I said anything to each other for, it had to be 2 hours hardly. We're just astonished. But, you looked at the results and afterwards you're like, oh, look at this team. A lot of our good friends were there. And I think one of them made it on with like a 10th place. That was Tippy Canoe, and that wasn't him, Pigskin. He was like 17th. Big T's was right at like 20th or whatever, and it's like, it was just the bad year. You can attribute to that. And then the second time I've had it happen was this last year, to be honest with you. It was frustrating. I think a lot of cooks were that way. You turn in good stuff, and we got a reserve in like Cedar Rapids, and the next weekend next time you think you have just as good as cook, if not, you're like not even top 10. And it was just that all year, and it just the stuff you turned in, you just sat on your hands during awards. It was frustrating.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people had the same frustrations last year. And I don't think it was anything we were doing personally, and that's the dumb thing in barbecue. We all start changing stuff, and and then you got to go back and be like, all right, dumbass, what were you doing? And then,
Yeah, last year was tough because I just think with the pandemic, and I think that a lot of the judges, the master judges, were staying home, had a lot of newer judges, and just everything was just weird. We had a lot of those same frustrations. Let's switch gears here a little bit. Let's get into some gear questions. What's one of the best investments that you've made in competition barbecue?
The best investments?
Yeah.
Anything?
Yeah.
That would be a trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, we cooked out of Easy Ups. I cooked out of an enclosed trailer. The first contest, everything packed in the back of a truck, and I'm sure everyone's been there. Rained like no other. The bottom of my WSM was about 3/4 full of water by the end of the night, and it was horrible. And then we went to an enclosed trailer, and then we finally, we bumped up to a toy hauler, and pulling everything out. Everything's got to go back in, at the same time, and you got to let the pit cool down and all this stuff. Once we got that porch trailer, it just opened up like, hey, this is easy. Anybody that has one, and not everyone can afford one, but it's like if you can get something that I can cook contests alone now, and it's not even a big deal.
Right. Comfort and being out of the elements are really big deals, and being able to get a good night's sleep. That's super important. So trailers are a big investment. Do you have a purchase of $100 or less that has really impacted your barbecue life?
Well, I think this might be stolen from Darren, the butcher paper. Everyone, I see these people like prepping their meat on foil, and it's like, what are you? Come on now. Foil is expensive, and I'm not knocking anybody that does it, but like this roll of butcher paper, I buy one that lasts me 2 years. Get the waxed, put it down first. I put like 5 layers down before chicken or whatever, and a couple underneath. I just pick them up, throw them in the garbage, and my table's clean again. It's like, especially when you're cooking alone, I get back from turn-ins, I don't have time to clean up. It's just as important as like a disposable cutting board or anything like that. As fast as I can clean up and be ready, for the next turn-in, that's a lifesaver. And plus, when I'm trimming, all that stuff goes on there. I do a quick wipe of the table, it's done. It's mind-numbing watching people. I couldn't imagine putting foil out. Plus, my lights would reflect off it. It'd drive me insane. I don't know how people do it. I guess that's just me.
No, that's a really good one. I hadn't, because I do that too, and I stole it from Darren as well. And Yeah, it's a life changer in the trailer. It's just like fold it up, trash can, next meat, let's go. It's awesome.
Yeah, I even put my butter out on it and my spoons for when I'm warming sauce. It's just stuff that paper towel sticks to everything, and soaks through. And at least this stuff you just set out, and it's I don't know. I think it's a game changer in my opinion, especially I'm kind of a neat freak sometimes.
No, not you. You're not OCD at all, like.
No, never.
So do you use a lot of technology in your approach? I know you cook on a stump, so you're running a Guru.
I run a Guru just so I'm kind of. I used to do the overnight cook and then bump it up. Now I just light it at night so I can wake up, kick the temp up. Yeah. I use a Guru, and I do have the what are they ThermoWorks products, dots or whatever. Half the time I put them in and the meat's done. I mean, after I foil, it's like it's kind of a dummy proof thing for me. One thing I've changed, I started using those in chicken. I do it during the cook, so I know when to wrap. I do that. It stays in the whole time, even after I pull it off and it sits on the counter. You can see what the carryover is. So if it's not, you don't want to roast it or something.
Yeah,
it's amazing if you watch that stuff, how much your meat actually does carry over. Everyone talks about it. They never actually measure it.
mm-hmm.
And if you watch a probe, it's insane how much stuff will actually carry over when it's foiled.
The thermodynamics involved in our sport, I think they don't get enough talk because there's so many things to consider when you're putting food in a cold Cambro, or
Yep.
you leave it outside on the porch and it's 30 degrees out there. I mean, that can have huge effects on your meat.
Yeah, those are about the biggest technology I use. I'm not a big proponent of that.
Right. I used to take a laptop and would hook my Guru up to that, and so I could track, the temperature all throughout the night. On the third laptop, I was like, okay, I'm going to stop doing this. Doesn't even matter.
No, it doesn't. I've seen people do that. I had the Wi-Fi. You ever try one of the Wi-Fi controllers?
Oh yeah.
You spent more time screwing around with it because it disconnected all the time or whatever. Then you'd be like, I don't know what I'm looking for. It's like, I just get up and look in the trailer. It's not a big deal.
The best thing that we ever did was we got a baby camera. We just set it there when we had the backwoods and just put it right on the Guru. And then just open your phone and look at it.
That's an awesome idea. I never even thought about that.
It was a good one. And we used it, and then you could talk through it. Like if somebody was near your porch, you're like, hey, get off my lawn. Let's get into people and people who have affected and influenced you in barbecue. Who has impacted your life the most in competition barbecue?
I got a couple big influencers, back in the day when the whole cornbread and Iowa barbecue was just killing it. Scott Nelson, he was kind of tight-lipped a little bit, but like Big T's, Ryan Newstrom, Hippie Canoe, we're all friends. And, that's the biggest thing. Like you all kind of talk like they might not give you everything, but they're going to give you those tidbits. And I think they helped me a lot. And then I another one I got to say, Sterling, I got in through him with, I met Sterling through Scott Nelson down in Vegas one time I think it was a World Food back in the backyard of Bally's or parking lot. And it was kind of scary, but, we cooked a couple days back there and I got introduced to Sterling and he's like, hey, he contacted me later on. That's when he kind of started those elite teams. And, he introduced me to a lot of different flavors and cooking techniques. And, he helped me out a lot over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to him still probably once a week or twice a week now.
Yeah. He's got a lot of
wife, I hate to say it.
A lot of institutions.
I hate to say it, my wife.
Your wife?
Yeah.
Of course.
She's the one that pushes. Yeah, she pushes me, man. You got to have that because I hate to say it. She's like, oh, let's go do this. And then when the practice cook, if it's cold out or something, she's like, do it anyways, and and she has to eat it, which she enjoys. But everyone.
No, Kate is one of the people. Kim and Leanne are going to interview teammates as a little subset of this, and I can't wait for the Kate episode. That's going to be amazing.
I know, she was sitting there talking to me about this interview now, and she's like, "You should say this. It'd be so funny. You should say this."
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for that one.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
So when you hear the word successful in terms of barbecue, who's the first person that comes to mind?
That's a tough one. I think successful has a lot of meanings to me. Successful in competition barbecue. Everyone always says like Darren, or like I even go back to like successful as in Donnie Teal, or those people that have been doing it for so long that they can still do it and they're still contending when they go to a contest. There's also successful, like look at Mike Mills and the stuff like that was very successful in the barbecue business. I have a lot of respect for people like that can do it so many years. To me, that's kind of how I measure success in my mind. You can love to do something so long and be good at it that long. That takes a lot. I mean, right. You got the ups and downs. You go through all those valleys, and you never know when the next up's going to hit or the next down's going to hit. As well as I do, that happens fast.
Yep, and you got to ride the hot streak as much as you can.
Oh boy.
So you guys set goals before the year for yourself?
Oh, it's usually just kind of what our schedule, what we're going to cook, for the most part. We don't really, we're never going to chase team of the year overall. We wanted to win a category at one time. I got second to you, by the way, one time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've gotten second like 3 times in a category, twice to Darren and once to you, I think. But, that's never really a priority to us. If you set a goal like that going out early in the year, I think you're just setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion, because you put so much pressure on yourself. We cook our best and we just go out and have fun. I think a lot of people could heed that advice, is just to relax, have fun and go cook.
Have a good time. That's one of our operating mantras with Old Virginia Smoke. Like, we'll drive past 4 contests to go cook with people that are going to be a good time, and just come back and be like, wow, we got one call, but man, that was a fun weekend.
I totally agree.
This is a fun question because you guys are a little bit different out there in the Midwest. Out this way, people take this super serious, but you guys have no problem engaging in psychological warfare out there, and doing a little bit of psyching out and talking shit and stuff like that. Do you engage in that type of behavior?
Yes. I will say that 99% of the time I'm 110% accurate. Let's say that. That makes any sense. But I will. There's certain group, especially I'll say some of my Minnesota friends, not chicken and grin, by the way, that they are known to be excessive shiggers.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we will, I'll have stuff out on the counter when I know they're coming by, or just as a ploy, like a rub. And then they always ask me about it. If it's something like off the wall or something different, or what do you use that for? And I'll just set them, this is this one. And then, dang well that they're going back to the trailer and writing down notes or something. Yeah, but it's all in good fun. I mean, if they ever have a serious question, I usually tell them a good answer.
I remember when we cooked next to each other at King of the Smoker, and I was getting ready to engage in the tender quick brisket trick. And you're sitting there trimming chicken. You didn't even look up, and you just went, man, people are still doing that tender quick trick. And I was like, I just looked at my wife and I went, oh man, this is brutal.
I've honestly never done that to this day.
I don't do it anymore based on that one experience. That's pretty fun. Are you a feel cook? Are you a timeline cook? Do you get gut feelings out there when you should do something and they don't make sense?
Yeah, I get gut feelings. I can walk on my trailer and I can tell you pork's done. I can smell it. It's kind of weird. It's one of those sixth senses that you get when you cook a lot. I don't do it by a timeline. That drives me insane that people that have 9:42, I got to do this. If it's 9:35 or 9:30 or, oh, I got a lucky beer at 10 o'clock, I'm going to push it back a little, that's kind of how I cook. We don't say that this time. And I know when the time area in my brisket should get done. My chicken's all done by temp, ribs are one of those things that it kind of changes. Not every rack of ribs is the same, not everything's exactly the same. You can weigh all you want, and do all that stuff, but I don't think everything's exactly the same. But I do a lot of feel, it's just kind of how things are feeling that day. Things color up different, though it's drier out. It's, Iowa, we deal with moisture, the humidity, not so much the heat or anything. So yeah, it's rough. It's rough sometimes.
You can smell when your pork's done.
Yeah. But
have you ever tasted your competition pork?
Unfortunately, yes, it's horrible. Horrible. I remember, I guess I don't know if people know, I can't eat pork. So yeah, I'll say that publicly. I had it. We were having a pork and rib troubles, so I did some practice, and I remember biting in a rack of ribs and I spit it out right away. But I just said, man, this is the crap we turn in. It's just, it goes back probably 20 years since last time I actually eaten pork, like ribs. And I was like, man, this does not taste anything like it, because back then it was not all this sweet and,
right.
All that stuff. And it's just like, that's not appetizing to me. If I was a judge, I'd hammer it. I really would.
Yeah, you're one of the best pork cooks in the world. It's amazing.
I have my days.
What's the most surprising thing to come out of competition barbecue for you?
The correct answer, let's say, is the amazing answer is the friends I've made. I can talk to a bunch of people and be like, hey, I got a buddy out in Virginia or a buddy out in California. We got so many different people that we associate with, and I can call or get a hold of them and say, hey, I'm coming out there to cook, getting gear, and they'll give me their shirt off their backs, basically, like help you out. As well as I do, it's amazing. Yeah. I think that's the most surprising thing that you didn't realize getting into is how people are so giving and the friendships that evolve out of it, and I still get together with people that don't cook, which is the amazing thing. It's just, we're still friends.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been a great thing that we've experienced as well. And we always say too, the places that we've got to go and parts of the country that we've got to see, we'd never go to some of those places.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, my kids are spoiled. They really are. Especially Gavin. I mean, he's been to California 2 or 3 times, and Colorado out in Frisco in the mountains like 3 times. And, we're going to Florida in April now, taking both of the kids. And it's like, I never got to do that stuff. I mean, it's insane.
That'll be a fun contest down in Florida. We're looking forward to
it. Yeah. That'll be a good time.
What do you think is missing from competition barbecue these days?
I think people need to be humble, and I'm not saying that being cheesy. I'm saying that just like, you got so many people that are not good winners and they're not good losers either. Mm-hmm. It's like, you got to find that fine line. Everyone loves to win, but you got to learn to lose. And I think competition barbecue needs more people that are appreciative of the people that do these things, instead of just because they get the bad scores at a contest, they go on Facebook and bash them. It drives me insane. It's like, you just want to kill this contest. I mean, this organizer's more than likely not making money on this, or, the charity or the foundation they're working for, if they're making a profit, that goes to a good cause, and they go out there and bash it just because there's a couple judges gave them some 6s,
Right.
And we all need to strive to be better people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think separates a good pitmaster from a great pitmaster?
It's the last minute decisions. And, before that box goes in, I think one of the best examples of that is Tim Shear. I cooked next to him in a guinea pig a few years back, and he had the worst looking pork, and it was insane. I mean, it was bad. And he was complaining the whole time, and I think he ended up winning pork that day. But he did those last minute decisions and last minute changes that turned that from a 10th place or 20th place pork box to first place. And I think that's the biggest difference between a good pitmaster and the best pitmaster. Excuse me.
Yeah, he's a great finisher, but it's fun to watch the journey to when he gets to that part.
It's painful sometimes, let me tell you.
Well, we're going to move into our rapid fire questions here at the end. These are my favorite ones to ask. And
I'm nervous.
You already answered the first one about what do you see on social media about barbecue that upsets or bothers you?
Oh, I see a lot.
Yeah, there's so much.
It's so much. One of my biggest things, and I actually, when I found out I was coming on here, this is the one I thought about the most, because how do I distinguish one thing that actually pisses me off? And I think the biggest thing is cooks not appreciating like the companies that are putting money into barbecue. I don't care if you cook XYZ pork versus, X pork, whatever it is. It's like they want to put this money into a contest that you can go cook, and they are bad mouthing them. It's like cutting off your own foot, and it's like, okay, then next year they complain there's no contest. Well, just support them. I don't care if, I'm promoting one pork company or one other company. You don't have to badmouth them. And I think that's my ultimate gripe on social media is just, people just need to learn to just calm down, and, you'll never, I don't think I've ever done it if badmouth another company, especially if they're putting them into our sport that we love, if you call it a sport, I guess.
Right. That's a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking with somebody the other day, and they said just because there's a soapbox in the middle of the street doesn't mean you need to go stand on it and scream your opinion. And
no,
I think that everyone could learn from that a little bit these days.
Amen.
So do you have a favorite pre, during, or post competition meal?
I eat a lot of turkey sandwiches during. We were known. I had a guy that called me Mr. Subway for years because every day on Friday at noon, we got Subway. Well, I'm rolling into contests like, last minute. So, there's a Subway in every damn town and it's easy to get, those are our kind of pre or during meals. Post, I like just the good old, the Chinese or the something like not barbecue. I'm not a lot of meat for the most part. I'm that simple, a salad.
Yeah.
Give some easy.
Salad or sushi is what we normally get into. It's yeah.
Kate had her first sushi the other night.
Really?
Well, it was just a roll, but it was a crispy one. But that was her first experience.
Wow.
It was amazing. She's like, "Oh my God, this is really good."
Wow, I think I know where we're going to have to go in Jacksonville then.
Yep, I think she needs to get a full experience with a good place.
Absolutely. Wow, that's going to be fun. So, do you have a favorite present that you like to give to people?
Well, besides nudie calendars to other guys,
that's my favorite.
I think everyone knows that we are very generous with like food. Kate's pumpkin bars, they're pretty much known around the nation. She always has goodies. Like at the Royal, she likes to make breakfast sandwiches for people. Just little things like that. We always have Friday night dinners. I mean, I don't think Dustin from Hogline will eat unless we're there, because he never really thinks about food, I don't think, unless we're cooking something, so it's just stuff like that. I think that's the biggest thing. We like to give food to people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you think you're pretty much, right there on the sleeve. Are there any misconceptions out there about you?
I don't know. Is there?
I don't think so. I mean, you're pretty genuine guy. You're good at helping people learn how to fish in a lake. They're all good life skills.
I think I call them like I see them, man. That's well the way it is.
Yeah. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it be?
I think one of the sayings I always go back to is breathe in, breathe out, move on.
Yeah.
And that can pertain to a lot of stuff in life, just like even barbecue or not barbecue. I mean, how important is some of the things people get all worked up about? Is it going to affect you tomorrow, the next day, whatever, That's kind of one of the things that's the one saying I really like the most, but the other one I always joke around with, because I deal with people a lot, is poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine.
That's
and
a great one.
That can go back to a lot of things, because, people always think they're the top priority and they're usually not.
And why should I make you a priority if you're not going to make you a priority? That's another one.
Exactly. You can read that one a lot of ways, and I can't be too public when I say that, I don't think.
Last question. What is an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you love?
I'm speechless on this one.
Wow. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I know about you that's really absurd. Not really.
No.
Mm-mm. Nope, you're a big MeUndies fan. I mean, that's good.
Yeah, you never bought me a pair, though.
No, I didn't.
No, that's strange.
It's weird talking about it like that. You've recently gotten into bourbon. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's becoming an obsession almost.
It's a really dark alley to go down, and it's never ending.
Yeah. I feel bad walking in the same stores looking at bourbon all the time. They look at me funny.
They got a word for that, buddy.
Yep.
Well, Justin, I want to thank you for being on here. You want to mention out your sponsors? You're also a Big Papa Cooking for Kids team. There's been a lot of good going out about that right now, and what Papa did last year in 2020, and maybe talk about who you guys support a little bit.
Yeah, Sterling. I mean, he's supported us, like I said earlier, a lot over the years. We had this year's or last few years' charity is Bo's Beautiful Blessings. They made a park down in a town in Cedar Falls, about a half hour from us, 20 minutes. And it's where all kids can play together. It's not just a special needs park. It's any kid can play, so they can all play together. And it's huge. I mean, you go down there in the summer, it's just packed with kids. And that money that he donates, through cooking with kids, cooking for kids, it's just amazing. She is so giddy about it every year, and she's the very social media type too, and she loves seeing all that, and she follows it along. So that's a big thing for us. We love doing that. We like to be as relative as possible, just trying to cook as many contests to make it like we are, being up in the standings and stuff. And then we're with Tyson this year or last year, and then this year again. We like them because we can get their product. I mean, it shows up at my door, and even if I need to run to the store, I can get it at a local grocery store here in town. It's great. Walmart was carrying it for a while. It's kind of hard, everyone that does any type of barbecue knows that meat procurement is the worst or the hardest thing to come by, and to have something consistent is great.
Yeah.
And we've teamed up over the years, this year again with Blues Hog. Tim, he's one of those guys. I think people would hear us talk at contests, they'd think we hate each other, but I think Tim and I we get along pretty good, and I love their products. And we try to spread as much word about all that stuff as possible. But it's fun, it's a good time. It's just only so many hours in a day.
Yep, you're right. Well, Justin, thank you for being on, and look forward to seeing you here next month or 2 months. Thank you for listening to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Be sure to subscribe and like the podcast, rate the podcast, and to share it out with your friends. Also, be sure to check out the Old Virginia Smoke YouTube channel as well. Next week, we will have our first episode with Kim and Leanne doing our Teammate series, and they will be interviewing Sean Gillespie from Smokin' Hogs. For companies interested in advertising, please contact Old Virginia Smoke directly via www.oldvirginiasmoke.com. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is edited by Chris Sedenka. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is a property of Old Virginia Smoke, LLC. All rights reserved. Copyright 2021.
Old Virginia Smoke.